Blake won the toss and elected to serve. Best of 3 tie-break sets.
$13-15. $40-15.
Both players, big hitters. Both have the ability to be able to hurt from the back of the court off both wings.
Game, Blake.
It's good stuff.
First game.
You'll be pleased that despite only making 2 of 6 first serves, he was able to eventually hold. That is Hawkeye. He will send a message back to the boys in the booth as to whether the ball was good or not when challenged.
And it's Gulbis to serve.
Nicely done. Give us a little bit of insight, Robbie, into the type of tennis we're going to see from Gulbis.
15 love.
Got a good look at that first point, pretty much summed it up. He's really heavy off both sides. Gives it a good crack, both the backhand and the forehand. I think the backhand's a bit more solid. It's not going to make as many unforced errors. Forehand is the shot that can break down under pressure. He's not scared to move forward either.
30 love.
He's such a threat to the top boys. All round, it's very good. And he uses a 6'3" frame to good effect on the serve.
It's going to be Interesting duel.
30-15.
The Gulbis serve, the Blake return. Because we know the American loves to take the ball as early as he possibly can.
Yeah, for me, he's one of the best at doing it on the second serve. Put so much pressure on the second serve of his opponents. Great tactic.
40-15.
32 miles an hour, that serve.
It's warming up nicely. Anything above 130, you need to take note of. Used to work with Jürgen Meltzer, Karl-Heinz Vetter. Switched his allegiance.
Gulbis.
That was interesting. You don't often see that. No apology from Blake afterwards either. Obviously no love lost.
One game on.
Blake obviously trying to hit Gulbis. Point out right. Don't often see this, Robbie.
You don't. Often that can
Love
be
15.
a way of intimidating your opponent, especially when he's a lot younger than you. Trying to make him feel uncomfortable on the court. Just 19 years of age is Gulbis.
Hey! 15 on.
That's the big forehand. He likes to run around the back.
15, 13.
You're going to have to keep an eye on the ratio of winners to unforced errors off that particular wing, because when he lost last week in Toronto to Jose Acasuso, it really let him down. Squandered a 5-1 lead in the deciding set of that match.
15-14.
Started brightly here. He's got an opportunity in this third game to draw first blood. Excellent start.
Gulbis.
18-year-old.
Gulbis leads 2 games to 1.
Gulbis with a break. 2-1.
Time.
getting a little frustrated early on today. He's made a poor start, surrendering his second service game to give Gulbis a 2-1 lead.
And he struggled early yesterday in his match against Gilles Simon. We saw him getting very frustrated. Almost let it all uncork.
Oh. 15 love.
It's Gulbis' dad. And there's a very successful businessman in Latvia.
Performing's obviously in the blood. His mum's an actress.
30-15.
He's taken to centre stage here today very well. It's tough to read too.
It's scary to go after the second. That 112 miles an hour.
Challenge. It looks. Mr. Gulbis challenge in the call. Left service line, the ball is called out.
So tough to see the service line over the other side of the net.
Yeah, I think it's more of a feeling, isn't it, Jason? You know, if you've hit a good serve, if you put just enough on it.
Yes, and an excellent challenge.
Gulbis. Gulbis leads 3 games to 1.
The upshot is that Blake is now down by 2 games. It's to hold serve here to stay in contention in this opening set.
love. Love.
Blake was a semi-finalist in Indianapolis and a quarter-finalist in Toronto, so he's played enough during the hardcourt season.
Great touch on the volley.
40 love.
You're coming in off a forehand that big. Makes life a lot easier. It's an area of his game he's improved nicely. Finishing points off at the net.
Game. Blake.
That's lovely feel. It's always nice to try and mix things up.
Gulbis leads 3 games to 2.
Especially when you're playing against somebody who loves to dominate from the baseline. So good shot selection from Blake. 3-2 first set. It's interesting to note that Blake's hitting the vast majority of his ground strokes to the Gulbis backhand. If you were coaching Blake, is that a game plan that you would advise him to use?
I'd advise him to be careful about doing it too much. Of course, he's got to go there, and that's James's more natural shot, perhaps, if he's hitting the big inside-out forehand. But he's got to keep Gulbis honest by going to the forehand side, perhaps a little bit more than he has been doing initially, because that is the shot that will break down under pressure, the Gulbis forehand. So he's got to mix it up. Very important for Blake.
Gulbis with the break. Midway through this opening set.
Love 15. Fifteen on.
A good basketball player as well in his early years was Ernest's dad.
30-15.
That's a huge serve. When you combine pace with accuracy on a course as relatively slick as this one, can win the majority of points.
40-15.
Let's try and read your opponent's ball toss. Try and guess where he's attempting to hit the serve, because you've got very little time to react to it once he does.
40-13.
When the serve comes down at that pace, mid-120s, then you've only got just over half a second to try and react to it when you're standing pretty much on the baseline. Took a miss by much.
Mr. Gulbis challenge the call. Right near sideline, ball is called out.
If it missed at all, because Gulbis obviously feels that that shot caught a piece of the line. It's a terrific guess.
Look, it could be catching the back. I'm not 100.
The quality of Blake's approach shot was fantastic. What a pass! It's brilliant.
Gotta just rub a little bit more salt in the wound.
I saw this one.
Just made a
Game Gulbis, sorry.
firing mistake.
Hamid's just getting the score right.
Gulbis needs more games to two.
Gulbis sees the funny side, which is nice to see. Looks pretty relaxed
I
out there.
thought he was serving.
Doesn't seem to be too phased by taking on the likes of Blake on a big centre court. Blake, on the other hand, looks a little miserable this morning. Body language hasn't been particularly good, and quality of his tennis needs to be improved if he's going to hang with Gulbis in this move.
Love 15. Fault. For me, our is fault. Okay. Mr. Blake is challenging the call. Left service
Well,
line.
that's a trilogy of events going on right there.
Oh, it got a bit confusing. Linesman called it, then corrected himself, then the umpire overruled the correction, and then Blake challenged the overrule. Ooh. And he was right. But Blake's going to have word in here. I don't like that.
I saw no, but you know, but because I saw it long, that was the reason. It's catching the back of the line. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a mistake.
Yeah, but you're only supposed to overrule when you're 100% sure. I'd rather you not touch it. I'd rather you not touch it 100 times than overrule.
Okay.
Good to see
Yes,
Fred holding his hands up instantly, saying he made a mistake. It's only human. Trying to diffuse the situation as quickly as he possibly can. It's good umpiring.
$15 on. $30-15. $40-15.
Coach Barker looks like he's doing about as much work as James Blake right now. Feeling the heat.
Literally for service.
It's never easy watching when your charge or your loved ones are not performing as well as you would want them to.
Game, play.
Solid service game.
New balls, please. Gulbis leads 4 games to 3.
Gulbis leads 4-3 first set. Well, Gulbis serving well so far. We know Blake likes to return nice and early, well inside the baseline more often than not. But very rarely does he change those tactics. Do you think that it's good just to concentrate on what he likes doing, or should he perhaps fine-tune it depending on how big a serve his opponent's got on any given day?
Yes, I think you have to make the fine-tuning adjustments depending on who your opponent is. But I think, especially early on in a match, you've got to stick to your game plan and see if that works. If you're down a set in a break, or you feel like you've been blown out in the first set, then you have to be able to make those little adjustments. That's what all good players do. They're able to adapt to the situation.
All good match players are able to do that. Gulbis with a break, 4-3.
$15 love.
You know, because that's what I was talking about. That's a big serve. You know, 115 miles an hour, accurate as well. You know, I just wonder whether James might consider just giving Gulbis something different to look at, because these are slick courts.
$30 love.
We got up early to have a hit on these courts, and I was really surprised how slick the courts are this year in Cincinnati. Historically, very slow here, but I think they've matched them up now to a very similar sort of speed to the US Open.
Game Gulbis.
Beautiful shot making, some terrific serving.
Gulbis leads 5 games to 3.
Excellent service game. Yeah, a lot of the players were discussing how difficult it was making the adjustment from Toronto to here in Cincinnati, given the big difference in the conditions. More humidity, of course, but primarily it was the speed of the court and the fact that the balls were flying much more here than they were last week.
15 love.
30 love.
Very simple service motion. Too much can go wrong with it.
40 love. Gulbis leads 5 games to 4.
Always nice to hold serve as quickly as Blake did there to reduce the arrears, but it's Gulbis who leads 5-4 first set. Nice to see a little bit of blue sky up there. It's been really cloudy this week, which helps the players in some respect. Quite as warm as it might be. And of course, we don't want any rain. So as long as those clouds remain nice and high in the sky, it'll be okay. Interesting game this now for Gulbis. Started this match very well indeed. Got the early break in the third game. And that currently is the difference between the two. Let's see what Gulbis is made of.
Let for service. Love 15.
Easy serving at the other end of the court, looking directly into the sun. So 4 points.
Love 13.
Especially considering this is such a vital game. He's dug himself of a hole here.
We'd only lost 5 points in serve up until the start of this game. It shows you how dominant he has been on the serve.
Hold back, he'll continue to go for it.
15, 30.
Whatever the situation.
It's a great mentality to have early on in your career. Often you see guys who are making that transition from the junior ranks to the senior ranks struggle with that, as you say. They focus too much on consistency as opposed to developing weapons.
Second serves up well too in this opening set.
30.
He's been afraid to go straight to the Blake forehand. And perhaps the American would have been expecting a backhand. Drew the short ball, which he dealt with beautifully.
That's impressive, Jason. He hasn't served well in this game. I think just the one first serve, yet regularly the second serve has been over 110, 115 k's an hour.
And within inches of the lines. Set point. Interesting shot selection.
Deuce.
Not the shot you want to play when you're set point up. He knows it. Yeah, right. That's what he's saying. shot selection. When he was set going up,
Advantage Blake.
could come back to haunt him.
So this Blake's very first break point of the set. Nicely done. Where was that a couple of points ago?
Deuce.
That's what he'll be telling himself.
Again, I love the way he goes after this ground stroke. He only had one thing in mind, and that was hitting a winner, not about hitting it safe.
Advantage. Mr. Blake is challenging the call. The right near side ball is scored good.
Yeah, well, it looked like in that replay that it caught the line, but Blake, I think, just thinks that it's such a big point, he may as well challenge it. Really knew in his heart of hearts that it was good.
Advantage. Gulbis.
Gulbis now
Mr. Blake has 2 chances.
second opportunity to wrap up this opening set. That'll do it.
First set.
Big
Gulbis.
forehands, more frustration for Blake.
6 games to 4.
Didn't look at ease throughout the course of that opening set. Gulbis made life very difficult for him with some scintillating shot making.
The top bottle, the top bottle, the top bottle. Thanks.
All great players are able to
Time.
do is keep their feet in the necks of their opponents when they find themselves in an excellent position. And that's something that Gulbis needs to learn throughout the course of his career. It's going to be interesting to see whether he can keep Blake under the cosh at the beginning of this second set. For me too, it's going to be fascinating to see whether Blake starts to just be a little more positive in his outlook, give the fans something
Second
to cheer.
set. Blake to serve.
Because I think that's when he plays his best tennis, and he's not doing so far this afternoon.
$15 love. $30. $15. 30 off.
He's frustrated because he made up the yards so easily. Just failed with the execution. The quickest guys around the court. That's why it hurts even a little extra bit more.
Forehand's held up relatively well so far. 8 unforced errors off it, but 4 winners.
Okay. Play.
Blake manages to hold.
First game, second set.
So he has a slender lead here in the second, but still not serving as well as he would want.
And we said at the start of the match that in order to play well here, you need to serve well this week. And you can see Blake hasn't been. The second serve, far too many. Those are the grey balls that you can see on your screen. Obviously far outweighing the yellow ones. And if he wants to get anything out of this match and this tournament, where don't forget he made it all the way to the finals last year, he needs to serve well. That's the key. The second serve also just a little bit short on occasions.
Love one. Shots like that can really frustrate players, especially on the first point of the game. And still trying to get behind him.
30 love.
Hardly seen any positive emotions from Blake so far in this match. He's looking pretty sullen today.
40 love.
You know, sometimes that happens. We all wake up some days and the last thing you want to do is grind out another day at work. Try and do so. And it's not like, you know, Blake works in an office and he can just
One game off.
You've got to get out there and perform.
And you're under the microscope as well. Thousands of people watching you, expecting, weight of expectation. Sometimes it's tough.
Yeah, they expect a lot from him in this part of the world. He was a finalist in 2007, losing narrowly to Federer.
$15 love. $30. $40 love. 40-15. Blake leads 2 games to 1.
Much better start to this second set. Blake leads 2-1.
Supermodel capital of the world.
And the communication hopefully didn't let you down when you were down there.
I don't speak
International
fluent.
sign language. The guy as good looking as you doesn't need to speak.
The less said, the better.
It's a well-supported event, this one. Fans enjoy the fact that they can kind of walk around, very chilled, and watch the players on centre court, grandstand, and on the outside practice courts.
Adiós, amigos. Jorge, ¿cómo estás?
Time. Love 15.
Just starting to see that forehand leak a few errors now.
Yeah, the intensity is not quite what it was in the opening set. He's got to guard against that. Seventh ace. Blake's not having much impact when returning. It's usually one of the major strengths of his game, and that will frustrate him.
Good body serve, mixing it up nicely. He's been going to the corners, then throws in the body serve. Obviously, it's just testimony to how good Gulbis' serve really is. Just a couple of forehands big in the last 2 service games.
Blake will be hoping to make the most of this half chance.
Advantage, Blake.
second chance for Blake. He had break point, remember, in the 10th game of the opening set when Gulbis eventually served it out. Wasn't able to convert then. Can he do so here? Simply putting the ball back in play. And Gulbis' forehand certainly let him down there.
Blake leads 3 games to 1.
It's Blake who now holds the upper hand here in the second set.
$15 love. $30 love. $30-15.
Just needs to keep on top of Gulbis now by holding serve here, because of course that will help involve the crowd even more. They've been a little more vocal here in the second, and that has to help Blake.
You want to challenge?
Mr. Gulbis challenge the call. Left service line, ball is called good.
Looked miles in where we were. Oh, rolling.
40-15. Mr. Gulbis has 2 chances remaining. Game play. Blake leads 4 games to 1.
It's a sizable lead now that the American has managed to garner here in the second set. 4-1.